under 30 points. I think it's been 9 games in a row they've scored
Mhm.
that.
I think it's very possible. It's also very possible to say that of the defenses they faced during the regular season, this is going to be the most formidable in that way. Like I said, kind of coupled with the fact that it might be a little bit of a weird rainy game. That is something that's kind of like in the back of my mind as well too. Anything's possible, but I think if the 49ers do get to 30, I don't think there's a team in this league that can beat them because they're not going to give up 31. So I don't like going out on a limb and just well, I guess going out on a limb would be saying that they're not going to score 30. But I think I have a lot of respect for this defense. I have a lot of respect for the coordinator. I do think this is a little bit of a game where it's not a letdown, but the Browns defense does present the challenges we thought that Dallas would. And I do think the 49ers will still make enough plays to get it done. The funny thing is the 49ers are just like they're like one or two plays away from like 40 every week, almost
Yeah.
every week. So it's so strange to almost say while we've been so impressed with this offense, they still are leaving plays on the field at times and they still are not all the way there if that makes any sense at this point. So I would say I would probably pick under 30 this week, but it wouldn't shock me if they did put up 30, and I think that would be the most impressive performance of 30 because it's against the Cleveland Browns, so I have a lot of respect for.
I agree. I'm interested in seeing how that defensive line goes against the 49ers offensive line. I've been actually pretty impressed. Obviously, Trent Williams looks incredible like he always does. But Aaron Banks, I feel like, has kind of stood out to me the last few games, especially against Dallas. I felt like he was pulling his weight pretty well. And I thought Kyle Shanahan's trick of moving Kittle and Juszczyk over to help negate the Micah Parsons effect when before they moved Micah Parsons over to Trent Williams. I thought that was pretty smart. So I am interested in how they'll scheme around that defensive line because I think similar to how Philly was last year, maybe the Browns defense might be less concerned with uh, coverage or stopping the run, and they might be like just going for the quarterback. So I think protection will be extremely important. I think keys to winning, and maybe why you are predicting a lesser, like a lower scoring game, would be like getting the ball out quick, running the ball. I can see it being like a bigger Debo game than like an IU game compared to just facing this type of defense. And then also with the weather conditions, um, which is kind of interesting. Like Shanahan has struggled in weather in like rain games throughout his time with the 49ers. I think he's lost way more rain games than he's won, but his style of offense is pretty conclusive to that because when it is raining, you don't want to throw the ball down the field as much. So
Mhm.
that is kind of funny, but I just feel like they're so prepared and they just feel like on such another level. I'm not doubting that they'll win, but it'll be interesting to see how dominant they look. I think sometimes when playing like poor offenses, you can kind of feel like you're testing your team like that. You can be like, okay, well, if they blow them out, then you know you're on another level. So it's if you assume that this defense is going to be big, it's like, okay, well, how good are they? Are they still going to be on another level? Are they going to look more human? Is it going to be a dogfight? That type of thing. Um, do you think like besides this Browns because I think even if Deshaun Watson, by the way, and the injury report on Cleveland hasn't came out for Thursday yet, but he wasn't playing on Wednesday. I think
Yeah, he didn't
even if he
practice today
was,
either.
oh, he didn't. Okay,
Mm-mm. Yeah, he's
see,
not playing. He's not playing. I don't
he's
think.
not playing. So it's
Mm-mm.
PJ Walker who did have like one crazy incredible game.
Mhm.
Um, was I think it was against the Colts last year, and then every other time has looked horrible. But he's
Mhm.
definitely mobile. Although under Steve Wilkes, the 49ers defense haven't struggled as much against mobile quarterbacks. Would you be more worried if it was Deshaun Watson than PJ, or are you worried about the Browns offense literally at all?
I mean, obviously, you would be more worried because regardless of how poor Deshaun Watson has looked in his time, he still offers a little bit more than PJ Walker does. I think what is the most important part is that without Nick Chubb, this offense, regardless of how Deshaun Watson can throw the football, has completely become a shell of itself at this point, and they're not getting away from running the game. I think Jerome Ford is fine, but he's no Nick Chubb, and I think that many of us can have the argument that Nick Chubb is probably the best player with the ball in his hands. And that's no slight at
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey. We're talking about pure runner, just running the football. Nick Chubb is that guy. So without him, you start to feel a little bit different. I think the way that this game shifts into this blow up that is possibly is in the realm of possibilities is if the Browns cannot sustain drives and they cannot keep their defense on the sideline, they will get tired out and the 49ers will be able to start to chip away at them a little bit more and more. So it's really important for the Browns, for whoever they start, to have drives where even if they don't result in points, you're still not putting your defense back out on the field over and over and over again because you're just giving Kyle Shanahan more information on how to pick you apart, and two, you're just tiring your defense out. So yeah, look, Deshaun Watson hasn't been the person that they thought they were paying all that money to. I think that's clear, but you have to feel a lot better about this game when he's not playing, even though if he was playing, I would still be picking the 49ers just because that offense just doesn't look the same without Nick Chubb.
I agree. It's interesting coming into the season. Maybe you never want to doubt that. I knew he had a down year last year, but I thought potentially Deshaun Watson might bounce back just play wise. And I didn't realize how incredible the 49ers offense would be. I assumed that they'd be a really good offense and really carried by their defense. So I remember thinking that I was definitely more scared of this game coming into the season than I am
Right,
this week.
right.
Um, and yeah, I feel like how 49ers felt maybe when Nick Bosa went down might be how similar to how Browns felt when Nick Chubb goes down. You just realize you're like, all right, well, we're just getting through the season now because that
He's
was that
he's
was
the
it.
engine. He's the engine. They want to build their offense. Kevin Stefanski wants to run that offense all the way through him, and why not? I mean, he's a phenomenal player as well too. You don't want to get away from your offensive principles when you're missing players because that's just your identity and how you've been practicing. But you can't tell me that missing Nick Chubb, doesn't make them a little bit less fearful.
No.